out of here! Let me out, I say!
The little girl who had just got off the train stared at the queer-looking trunk on the station platform. It was taller than a man and shaped like a huge bottle, and the shouting and thumping seemed to come from inside it.
Hurry up now and let me out!
At first, the little girl didn't know what to do. Then she saw that the trunk wasn't locked.
All right, wait a second.
And in a jiffy, she had the lid open, and out popped a big bass viol. The bass viol shook his fist at the little girl and shouted,
What do you mean by shutting me up in there? I nearly smothered! What's the big idea?
The little girl was frightened.
Please, I didn't shut you up. I let you out.
The bass viol stopped shaking his fist.
Oh? And it must have been those pesky ukulele kids. Just wait till I catch them.
And then the bass viol became quite friendly. He smiled at the little girl and said,
What's your name? And where do you live?
Why, my name's Alice, and I live in the city.
How did you get here?
Alice hesitated.
Well, I'm not quite sure. You see, I was at a symphony concert, the first one I'd ever gone to. And I was looking at all the instruments and wondering what their names were and what kind of sound they made. Then something funny happened. And all of a sudden, I was here.
The bass viol smiled understandingly.
Lots of people come to Philadelphia that way, Alice.
Oh, is this Philadelphia?
Not Philadelphia, Philadelphia, the home of the fiddles and the capital of Orchestralia. All my relatives live here. The violins, violas and cellos, and my brothers, the other bass violins.
Oh, can I see them?
Well, I think so. Come along, and we'll go look for them.
Alice and the bass viol soon arrived at a handsome building that turned out to be a concert hall. And there on the stage were 4 fiddles, one about half the size of the bass viol and the others much smaller. They all went to the back of the stage, where each fiddle opened a cupboard and led out a man, dressed in a tailcoat and striped trousers. Alice was shocked.
That's mean. Keeping human beings in those horrid little closets.
The bass viol chuckled.
They're not human beings. They're only musicians. You see, in your country, fiddlers have to have fiddles to play on. In Philadelphia, we have to have fiddlers to play on us. That's fair enough, isn't it?
Well, I suppose so.
The bass viol chuckled again.
Anyhow, our fiddlers aren't alive. They're just dummies. So you needn't worry about it. Now we'd better go and speak to the string quartet.
The bass viol led Alice up to the group of instruments and introduced her to the first violin.
Alice, this is Mr. Stradivari.
The first violin bowed and said in his beautiful Italian voice,
And this is our second violin, Mr. Klotz. He's German. And here's Mr. Galliano, our viola. And last, but not least, our cello, Mr. Amati. Now you boys go ahead with your rehearsal. We have some other calls to make. See you later.
Where are we going now that we're leaving Philadelphia?
First, we'll visit the woodwind instruments. They live in Panopolis.
That's a funny name. Why do they call it that?
It's named for the Greek god Pan, who's supposed to have invented the first wind instrument. He made it out of a reed, and to this very day, all woodwind instruments, except the flute, have reeds in their mouthpieces. But here we are at the Panopolis Town Hall, and say, it sounds as if the whole village is here.
My goodness, what a funny sound. Who is that? And who are all of those people?
That's poor Saxy the saxophone. And those other folks are the citizens of Panopolis.
Why are they fussing at the saxophone?
Oh, he keeps pestering them for membership in the woodwind family. But since he's more brass than woodwind, they won't let him in.
But if he's brass, why doesn't he join the brass family?
Oh, they won't have him because he has a reed mouthpiece. Poor Saxy. He's an instrument without a city. Has to live in the woods all by himself. That's why he has such a husky voice. But let's listen. I think the flute is about to make a speech.
understand what it's all about. The saxophone doesn't seem so bad to me.
Oh, Saxy's not bad. He specializes in jazz. And they... Oh, look. The piccolo is going to speak. He's the flute's little brother, you know, and a fresh brat, too.
But why does the saxophone keep interrupting? It only seems to make them all mad.
It always seems to happen that way. He tries to audition, and they get angry. However, the oboe always can calm them down.
My, the oboe feels as sad as I do about the saxophone.
Not exactly. He's just naturally sad. But he's happier than his cousin, the English horn, at that. Just listen to him. Saxy just never will learn to behave himself at a public meeting, and consequently, he doesn't have any friends. But maybe the clarinet will have a good word to say for him.
Just then, a strange-looking instrument with a crooked neck and a silver bell stood up.
Look! A black saxophone!
Well, not exactly. Although I'll admit, the resemblance is striking. That's the bass clarinet. And what a deep bass voice he has.
My, the bass clarinet is a funny fellow, isn't he?
Well, that depends on the composer.
But the bass clarinet is such a happy person. And the poor saxophone is so blue sitting over there in the corner.
Maybe he'll get cheered up if he listens to this. This is the bassoon. He's really a serious fellow, although he can be quite a comic when he feels like it. Uh-oh, poor Saxy. They're going to throw him out.
Oh, dear. They threw the poor saxophone right out the back door. I feel so sorry for him. I think he's nice, and I'd like to tell him so, too.
Well, here's your chance. Here he comes now, looking as if he'd lost his last friend.
Hello. I'm sorry they won't let you join the woodwinds.
Or the brass either. Nobody wants me to play for them.
I do. Will you play for me?
Gee, really?
Please do.
Oh boy, at last a customer. Okay, fellas, let's hit it. 1, 2.
Oh, that was fun. May we have an encore?
Well, if you insist.
Afraid not, Alice. We have to go if we're going to get to Brassydale in time for the band concert in the park.
Brassydale? What's that?
It's where the brass instruments live, naturally. The fiddles live in Philadelphia, the woodwind live in Panopolis,
And the brass live in Brassydale.
That's right, my dear. And we're here just in time because the Brassydale citizens are about to do some stunts. There go the trumpets. Watch them. Now the French horn. Now the trombones and the tuba. Now look at this, Alice. The Brassydale band is going to play while the entire percussion section passes in review, with the snare drum and the bass drum leading the procession. And next come the kettle drums with the triangle right behind. And now the tambourine and the castanets. Now there's the xylophone, Alice. Watch him strut. And here's one you'll like, the celeste.
My, that was pretty. It sounded...
Look out! And now, the gong.
Oh, that made me shiver.
It does sound kind of scary, but you like the next one, the chimes. Dear me, I didn't know it was so late. You'll have to be getting home. But first you must meet the harp.
Does he live in Brassydale?
Sometimes. You're more likely to find him in Philadelphia or Panopolis. But he happens to be here today. Look, there he is now.
Alice, it's nearly time to go home.
And And in a twinkling of an eye, Alice found herself back in the concert hall in her own country. The orchestra was still playing, but somehow the music seemed different. All the instruments seemed to be talking to her, and they had a familiar, friendly look. The piccolo even winked at her. Alice gave a great big sigh and said to her mother,
That was wonderful.
Well, so you're awake at last.
Awake? I wasn't asleep. I just had the most marvelous visit to Orchestralia.
Her mother smiled.
It must have been a pleasant dream.
It was not a dream. It was real. I want to go back again someday.
Very well, you may. Perhaps tonight when you go to bed. Or next week when we come to the concert again.
Alice didn't say anything. She just thought.
Grown-ups are funny. They miss a lot by thinking everything has to be a dream.
Alice knew better. She knew that Orchestralia was real, and that she could go back there whenever she liked.